Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawel. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and recognise any other people or families with connection to the ACT and surrounding region. I respect their continuing culture and the contribution that they make to the life of this city and to this region. I also acknowledge and welcome other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be attending this afternoon's event or watching online. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also the Secretary for the Council for the Order of Australia, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for the members in the General Division. And the Governor-General is both Chancellor of the Order and the Principal Companion of the Order. And I'm also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for Bravery Awards. Before we start the ceremony this afternoon, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests, Commodore Eric Young, representing the Chief of Navy, Major General Sue Graham, representing the Chief of Army, Air Vice Marshal Wendy Blythe, representing the Chief of Air Force, Dr. Shubo Banerjee, Deputy Commissioner, Australian Public Service Commission, and Dr. William Maiden, representing the National President, the Order of Australia Association. Welcome all. The Australian Honour System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And since its inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, national, bravery or military service. And the Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising an outstanding service. And it's important to note that nominations come from all parts of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, but also for their friends, their families and their communities. It's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. And my Government House colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in the recognition and celebration of that service. And we look forward to making this afternoon an occasion you recall with pride for a long time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley, and then please remain standing and join in for the singing of the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter from the doorway on my right, and after they've been invested by the Governor-General, they'll depart via the middle aisle to take up their seats at the back of the room. And it's at this point you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause. At the conclusion of the ceremony, the Governor-General will say a few words, and then I'll invite the recipients to join their excellencies out on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph and invite remaining guests to head through to the dining room where refreshments will be served. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Would you please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley and for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, and if not a warm welcome outside, a warm welcome inside to Government House Yarralumla for a very special afternoon in the lives of our recipients and their families and friends. And can I join in the acknowledgement of the Ngunnawal people as traditional custodians and to other families in the region with connections here. thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country for generation after generation. Canberrans here will know about Namadgi, out there in the Murrumbidgee, how beautiful part of the world it is. And we do thank for looking after it for us, and pay respects to elders past and present. Well, we are here today to recognise those who have made a significant contribution to the advancement of our country and to the well-being of our communities. It's a very, very special occasion. You can see everyone's dressed up in their finery. These 2 times of the year, April and September, when investitures are held, are the highlights of the year for us here at Yarralumla. But please, as Paul has said, I overheard him say, please breathe, relax. It's a time of celebration and enjoyment. Service and attitude is what we're recognising today. So contributions in many, many fields, professional, community, business, and so on. And we know that those recipients today really are the tip of the iceberg because this ceremony is repeated in other government houses around the country, and indeed represents what is really a very good, strong, hard-working community in Australia. Linda and I are privileged to see that those people nearly every day of the year as we travel around the country. And it gives me enormous optimism for Australia, the quality of our people and the way they respond to issues, challenges and lead. But we're also recognising, I think, that their work doesn't stop today. Today is not a full stop. Oh, we give you a medal, rest. All of the recipients will be people who continue to serve in any way they can. And I think that's a remarkable thing about each and every one of them. They're also very humble. Everyone who comes from the door will say to me sometime today, I don't deserve this, I just do it because it's got to be done. Don't do it for a medal. Well, I give you permission not to be humble today. You can be a little bit boastful, don't brag, but today your country is saying thank you. So it's a time to celebrate and acknowledge that. There's also another characteristic on each of our recipients share today. They wouldn't be being recognised here today, or as I say, in other government houses around the country, if they had not been nominated in the General Division in particular for the Order of Australia by someone in their community, by a peer. I think it's a characteristic of our honours and awards system that is perhaps unique. It's not a top-down system. I don't sit there at my desk twice a year with a list of good Australians I've seen and decide who gets a medal, nor does anyone else in the country. Everyone in the General Division has been nominated by someone in our communities. That's a real strength. But it also provides a challenge for us. And I'm going to issue you some homework after the formal part of the ceremony, because I want to be able to mark your homework, or my successor will want to mark your homework in a few years' time. So just keep an eye out for what happens and you'll get a hint about what the homework will be. Could I make a special thank you to the family members of those who are being acknowledged today? I know that this is a team effort and it takes everybody in the family to enable people to contribute the way they do. So this day is equally about your contribution as it is theirs. And on occasion, I've been known to say, they got their bling today, they should take you shopping. It's a special occasion for all the family, but believe me, a very sincere thank you. I understand completely how this works. So thank you for what you've given. Again, a warmest welcome. As I say, a very special occasion in the life of the nation when we acknowledge great Australians. I'll now commence the formal investiture ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be appointed a member of the Order in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Hilton Kus, for significant service to forensic science through governance and administrative roles. Professor Cobus has been a leader in national and international forensic science community for over 5 decades. His achievements in the science of fingerprint enhancement research are of global significance, as are his contributions to the advancement of forensic science as a profession. He led the creation of the Forensic Science Program at Flinders University in South Australia, which was amongst the first in Australia to introduce DNA testing, and he was key to the establishment of the South Australian DNA database. He's also provided leadership in major professional organisations, including the National Institute of Forensic Science. Professor Cobus embodies the best of us, and we acknowledge his efforts today. Emeritus Professor Hilton Kus, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member of the Order in the Military Division, Major General Michael Cowen, for exceptional service as Chief Judge Advocate of the Australian Defence Force. Major General Cowen, in his role as Chief Judge Advocate, has developed best practice criminal justice trial management, improved the standards and capabilities of legal officers, and actively promoted diversity and gender equality in the military justice workplace. He successfully implemented the practices and procedures common to civilian criminal jurisdictions, including the expansion of a rigorous pre-trial directions hearing regime, thereby greatly reducing delays in matters being finalised. He also continuously strives to provide opportunities for ongoing professional development of military legal officers. Major General Cowen has shown outstanding leadership and initiative, which has resulted in the streamlining of good order and discipline in the Australian Defence Force. Major General Michael Cowen, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member of the Order in the Military Division, Major General Jason Walk, for exceptional service to the Australian Defence Force in strategic logistics, operations support and sustainment. Major General Walk is a defence logistics expert who has provided exceptional service throughout his military career. As Deputy Director of Sustainment of Operation High Road, he expertly guided the Afghan Army to embrace contemporary logistics management. As Commander of Joint Logistics, he's driven the transformation to ensure the organisation is structured and focused on supporting the operational requirements of our military. Major General Walk's dedication and efforts in complex and demanding roles have delivered enduring benefits for the Australian Defence Force. Major General Jason Walk, appointed a member of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Stephanie Armstrong, for service to Indigenous health and education. Auntie Stephanie is a proud Kamilaroi woman with over 30 years' experience working in the areas of education and health of First Nations people. Through her work with the Australian Council for Education Research, she played a key role in providing leadership to projects that focus on educational policy, practices and workforce engagement with Indigenous communities. Similarly, her guidance and advice at the Weethunga Health Network has resulted in beneficial outcomes for young women seeking to enter the health industry. Auntie Stephanie has also strongly advocated for projects that address First Nations people's wellness, community connection and cultural practices. Mrs. Stephanie Armstrong awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Michelle Boots, for service to lifesaving. Mrs. Boots has spearheaded the development of the disability programs of Surf Lifesaving New South Wales for more than 25 years. She planned the Special Nippers Same Wave program, which enables young people with a disability or developmental delay to participate in water and beach activities. Over 50 of the 300 clubs in Australia now use the Same Wave program. She's also trained many patrol captains and hundreds of volunteers since she joined the Pambula Surf Lifesaving Club in 1995. Mrs. Boots' commitment to the community and especially to surf lifesaving has been outstanding. Mrs. Michelle Boots awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Jan Dawes, for service to the community through social welfare organisations. Mrs. Dawes first joined Lifeline as a volunteer telephone crisis counsellor in 1976 and was also a Lifeline Canberra in-shift supervisor upon her retirement in 2021. She simultaneously held these two positions for approximately 40 of her 45 years with Lifeline. Notably, she's assisted several thousand Australians with a variety of problems ranging from sexual assault, substance abuse, suicidal behaviour, mental health issues and domestic violence. Mrs. Dawes is the epitome of the quiet achiever who has selflessly supported the well-being of those in need. Mrs. Jan Dawes awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Raymond Dorset, for service to hockey. Mr. Dorset can be considered a stalwart of hockey in the Canberra region. He's worked tirelessly for the sport for over 46 years in a range of roles, including as coach for men's and women's first grade teams, junior boys and ACT state under 18, under 21 and senior teams. He's also been the Australian Institute of Sport's high performance manager and team manager for Australian men's hockey teams for 10 years and the coaching coordinator at the AIS, supporting coaches in various sports. Mr. Dorset is one of those people who go the extra mile in everything that he does, and he is an asset to sport and to the community. Mr. Raymond Dorset, awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Ronald Miller, for service to the community of Gundaroo. Mr. Miller is a well-known and highly respected member of the Gundaroo community. He was a founding member of the Gundaroo Historical Society, where he's been actively involved in preserving and promoting the town's history through exhibitions and events. Additionally, as chair of the Gundaroo Park Trust, he has tirelessly championed improvements to the park and other public areas. He's also served as a member of the Gundaroo Rural Fire Brigade for over 40 years. Mr. Miller's efforts and commitment are most noteworthy, and he continues to place others above himself. Mr. Ronald Miller, awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the Military Division, Captain Lisa Stevenson, for performance of duty in the delivery of operational intelligence to Defence. Captain Stevenson has, through her efforts, changed the nature of operational intelligence in the Australian Defence Force. She's empowered the team she has led by giving them a platform to challenge the norms and improve existing standards. Further, she has mentored a number of junior analysts during her time as a senior intelligence officer deployed within the Middle East area of operations. This was critical to the integration of personnel from other agencies into the Joint Task Force, which enhanced the quality of advice provided and operational effectiveness. Captain Stevenson is a credit to herself and to the Australian Defence Force. Captain Lisa Stevenson, awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Colonel Graham Price, for outstanding achievement in conducting cybersecurity and defensive cyber operations and developing cyber domain capabilities and concepts for the Australian Defence Force. Lieutenant Colonel Price has utilised his professional, technical and command experience in the development of our Defence Force's cyber capability. He led a diverse and multidisciplined workforce facing daily operational pressures and managed relationships between Defence and industry partners. He was also involved in a review of Defence's existing systems, which included liaison with Joint Operations Command, each of the services, the Australian Signals Directorate, and related Australian government departments and agencies. Lieutenant Colonel Price has made a vital contribution to Australia's defensive and cybersecurity operations and, through his efforts, has laid strong foundations for the future. Lieutenant Colonel Graham Price, awarded Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Group Captain Daniel Dran, for outstanding achievement as the Director Select Strategic Issues Management in the Australian Defence Force Headquarters, managing defence response to enterprise-wide serious and sensitive issues. Group Captain Dryden's dedicated efforts have transformed practices and processes across defence. He's been key to the implementation of over 225 enterprise-wide recommendations from an extensive number of Inspector General Australian Defence Force inquiries, coronial and Comcare investigations, and national and royal commissions. He also coordinated responses to strategic activities, including support to the Interim National Commissioner for Defence and Veteran Suicide Prevention and the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Abuse. Group Captain Dryden designed an assurance framework to provide decision makers with confidence that the implementation of recommendations had taken effect, would endure, and would deliver a positive impact on our Defence Force. Group Captain Daniel Dryden awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Colonel Allison Kane, for meritorious achievement in the field of sensitive and strategic personnel case management in the Australian Army. Colonel Kane has been instrumental in driving positive change across the Army. Her policy knowledge, compassion, and exemplary personal engagement was pivotal in the closure of 13 serious, complex, and sensitive case files where Army's reputation was at high risk. She reviewed and refined case management arrangements with key stakeholders across defence and government, including personal briefings to ministers, families, and advocates. Colonel Kane has also led the operation of the Army Fair Go hotline, and her ability to achieve positive results in difficult situations led to favourable outcomes for its members. Colonel Allison Kane awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Natalie Cooper, for outstanding public service in communications for the ACT Government's COVID-19 vaccination program. Ms. Cooper led the communications activities for the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccination program across the ACT. She worked closely with the Health Directorate, the COVID-19 response team, and the whole of government and non-government stakeholders. She developed innovative ways to support communications for the vaccination rollout, including strategic information campaigns, media responses, talking points, news articles, social media channels, and web content. Ms. Cooper's work was instrumental in the ACT Government's delivery of a successful response to the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring that our community remained engaged and informed during the crisis. Ms. Natalie Cooper awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr. Jonathan Cobus, for outstanding public service to the Canberra and region tourism industry through the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Cobus played a vital role in aiding the Canberra region tourism industry during and following the COVID-19 pandemic. As Executive Branch Manager of Visit Canberra, he aided the sector's recovery by engaging with industry and articulating a way forward during the crisis. He also worked closely with the Canberra International Airport to re-establish direct flights to capital cities. He expanded his organisation's ability to better support the local tourism sector, including establishing business grant programs and training initiatives. Mr. Cobus has set a new precedent for the united and collaborative tourism industry in the Australian Capital Territory. Mr. Jonathan Cobus awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Amanda Lee, for outstanding public service in leadership and professionalism in the development and delivery of the Commonwealth budgets and fiscal policy. Ms. Lee is widely respected for her expert advice, guidance and support to successive governments to enable them to deliver on budget and fiscal policy objectives. In her role in the Department of Finance, she's worked collegiately across the Australian Public Service and was relied upon as the Australian government navigated through the crisis response to the COVID-19 pandemic. She has the confidence of ministers, resulting in her ability to effectively influence decision-making on government expenditure and non-taxation revenue matters. Ms. Lee's expertise and professionalism is of the highest order, and we acknowledge her service today. Ms. Amanda Lee awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr. Victor Martin, for outstanding public service in managing the COVID-19 Proactive Compliance Inspection Program for the ACT's COVID-19 response. Mr. Martin was instrumental in the ACT government's delivery of a successful response to the COVID-19 pandemic. He provided exceptional leadership in his role managing the COVID-19 Proactive Compliance Inspection Program, ensuring businesses and organisations complied with public health directions, and he supported them to develop measures that minimise the risk of COVID-19 transmission. Through engagement and education, Mr. Martin's innovative and positive approach to compliance activities were in keeping with the highest standards of public service. Mr. Victor Martin awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal, Ms. Jenny Giannakis, for distinguished service to the national intelligence community. Ms. Giannakis has demonstrated superior commitment to the Australian Geospatial Intelligence Organisation during her career. Her performance has helped the organisation to build its intelligence workforce in order to deliver impactful outcomes for the federal government, our Defence Force and the national security community. Ms. Giannakis' work ethic and dedication to public service is inspirational, and her efforts have uplifted the capability of the Australian Geospatial Intelligence Organisation. Ms Jenny Giannakis awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations this afternoon.
I just have to give Jenny permission to breathe there. She was, but it is such an important occasion. We've acknowledged each of our recipients individually. I think it'd be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group. Congratulations to you all. I hope you've noticed, particularly in the General Division, when we're acknowledging the commitment of community members to their fellows in their society, in their area, through their years of effort. A very important part, it's a very important part of who we are as a country. The homework, though, is you know who those people are back in your community who are doing similar things, whose service should be considered on merit for recognition in our honours and awards system. So your homework is to go home, think about it, and nominate them. It's a very simple process to nominate. Paul will explain that in a moment. But without that, we can't recognise them. And as I said, I'd love to mark the homework. It won't be me, but my successor, when they come through that door in a substantive equation, if the Order of the Australia Council deems it to be. So please go and reflect on that. While you're reflecting, a couple of things I want you to think about. Over the last couple of years, 3 years, we've increased the representation of women in our Order of Australia acknowledgement. We're now 50-50, roughly where it should be. We're still working hard to increase Indigenous representation and representation from our multicultural communities in Australia. Work still to be done, but the numbers are all heading in the right direction. Again, you know people in the community who are worthy of consideration in our Order of Australia. So please take that back with you and think about it and then act on it. As an aside, I'm often asked, what do you say to each of the recipients? You can't hear it. By my choice, you can't hear it. In this entire process, that is the only time I have to myself with the recipient. So I guard it jealously. But they might divulge if they wish, but it is very important, I think, to have an opportunity to say, really thank you for what I see is critical to what they've given their country. Again, our warmest thanks to our recipients and to families. Can I stress that again? This is your day as well, and we're delighted to share it with you. Linda and I look forward now to catching up with you in a more celebratory mode and just looking and talking about how this country functions and the quality of the people that contribute to it. Thank you, and we look forward to catching up with you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has set this afternoon, I do encourage you to access the online nomination form, which is available on the Governor-General's website at www.gg.gov.au. As the Governor-General has said, it is a relatively simple process, and we look forward to welcoming those that have been successful through that process to an investiture such as this in the future. I now invite the recipients to join Your Excellencies briefly on the state entrance stairs and for guests to join their Excellencies and recipients in the dining room for refreshments. Would you please stand for the departure of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley.